You're now live, it says. Hello, Angelika.
Hello, Stephen.
Right, we're going we're going live today on Angelika's page and Ask Angelika the group. This is the program Ask Angelika. We're also live on Twitch, which is why we've got the countdown clock to wait. This is a very special day as we actually celebrate 6 years of Be Live. But it's also a special weekend, as we'll find out on Monday. Unless Angelika spills the beans today, of course. If I ask her the right question, she might do that. So let's count down to 0. And as soon as we've got to 0, Angelika and I will magically appear on screen. Shall we count down in German?
It's probably better than watching paint dry, isn't it? So we've got 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
1.
Okay, and we
Where
are
are we?
live. Hello,
There we
Angelika.
are.
Right, okay. And we have people watching already. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show on. And this is Ask Angelika, German language, tuition, idioms and tongue twisters. Letter is Z, season 4, episode 25, which means we're getting closer to season 5. I wonder what's going to happen then. But Angelika, would you like to explain how this works?
Well, we've got the last session of season 4. You're absolutely right. We have been working with idioms and tongue twisters and worked our way through the alphabet. And if anybody watched last one, which was W, there are no tongue twisters or words really with X or Y. So we've moved from W to Z. They're the only 2 letters. I couldn't find anything, which I think is pretty cool, because we've managed to do something for each letter. And so this is the last one. And again, we have got 5 idioms. And just to really please Stephen on his last tongue twister session, we have got 2 tongue twisters. One I think is fairly easy and the other one isn't.
Okay. Let's make a change to the setup, because you all know the program you're watching now. So I'm just going to change the studio. I'm going to go here and here and here and here, and not that way, or that way, that way. Right. Okay. We're back in our normal positions. And what we're going to do now is say hello to everybody. So take that off screen and say hello to Roland, who's the first to comment. Hello, Roland.
Oh, brilliant. Hello, Roland.
And Chris. Hello from Belgium.
Hello, Chris.
And back to Roland. I can't say I'm yet fluent in German idioms. Well, neither can I. I don't think we can ever be, but
it takes practice, Roland. You need to say one of these at least once a day, every day.
And we say hello to Stephen.
Oh, well done. Hello, Stephen.
Right. Okay. So, welcome to the show. This is Ask Angelika, German language tuition, idioms and tongue twisters, of which there are 2 apparently. The letter is Z, season 4, episode 25. Okay, so let's start with the first phrase. Now you can read it out with me, and then Angelika will correct my pronunciation, and then we'll all say it again. Right, so first tongue twister, first phrase is: Wir sollten das nicht zwischen Tür und Angel besprechen.
Ja, wir sollten das nicht zwischen Tür und Angel besprechen.
Right, between the door.
Yeah.
Angel.
Hinge.
Was bedeutet Angel?
Hinge of a door.
Right. We should not discuss this between the door and the angle.
And the hinge. Yeah, that's the literal translation. You were spot on there. We shouldn't discuss this between door and hinge.
Right. Now, there is an English equivalent, and I've got to be honest here. I don't know what it could be, but if you want to take a guess at what the English equivalent is to wir sollten das nicht zwischen Tor und Angel besprechen. The literal translation is we shouldn't discuss this between door and hinge, and our English equivalent is 5, 4, 3. Okay, let's go for it. The English equivalent is we shouldn't discuss this in passing. Okay.
Now, if you think there's a snap, the door and the hinge, it's a second, really, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. You can't go between door and hinge, really.
No,
And when you discuss something, you ought to just take time to discuss it and rather not do it sort of almost like while you're meeting in a door. One comes one way, the other one comes the other way. That's not how you should discuss whatever important discussion it may be.
Right. Phrase 2. Zu allem Ja und Amen sagen.
Ja, zu allem Ja und Amen sagen.
To everyone? Oh,
Not everyone.
We've got Roland's coming in. That's Roland, while I'm thinking. I'll take Roland's comment. I'll ask engine bracket. Yes, okay. Yes. Zu allem Ja und Amen sagen. To everybody say yes and Amen.
It's not everybody, it's everything.
Right. Okay. So literal translation is to say yes and Amen to everything. Okay.
What do we say in English? Somebody who does that, what is that person?
Well, I'm not going to be political. I could be, but I won't be. Okay. And Chris is coming in, and Chris is saying, I learned a new word, hinge. Yeah.
Ah, right.
If you want to go a bit further, Chris, you can learn about hinge and bracket, a famous English comedy duo, thanks to Roland. And Roland is saying yes, man.
That's it. Yeah.
Phrase 2.
To be a yes man.
To be a yes man is the correct answer, Roland. So well played.
Oh, yeah, he is fluent in German idioms.
Wow. Okay, on to phrase 3 then. And Chris is saying yes man, jach nika is the Dutch and Belgian.
So they're pretty similar, isn't it? In German we're just adding the amen as well. So yes and amen in English is just yes, and it looks like in Dutch it's just a yes as well. Okay.
Phrase 3, which is simple and straightforward. Thank you, Chris. And we'll go to phrase 3. Der Zankapfel.
Der Zankapfel.
Zank. I want to say Z.
No, think of a TS. Zankapfel.
Zankapfel. Well, apfel is apple.
Yeah.
And zank.
Not sure whether we've ever had the verb zanken in a German lesson. Maybe not. Zanken, the verb zanken is to quarrel.
Right. So it's a quarrel apple.
It is a quarrel apple, yes. And in English, we have something very similar.
Okay. And the English equivalent, I'm just waiting see if anybody knows what the English equivalent is. The quarrel apple is the literal translation. What is the English equivalent? Now, I've got to admit, I had to ask Google about this because I was intrigued. And Roland's saying one bad apple. Okay, that's fair. Ish. You notice that Angelika went ish then. So the coral apple is also known. We say, and Stephen's saying a bad apple as well. Okay. Oh. So I can see where that's coming from, because to quarrel is something bad. Yeah. But it's actually the apple of discord. Now, yeah. I Googled this.
Okay.
This is to do with the Greeks and Trojans. and basically an apple was thrown between the Greeks and Trojans and sowed discord and led to the siege of Troy. Which, yeah. We're joined by Steve. We're joined by John. Is saying a rotten apple, and Roland is revising slightly and saying, "Never heard of that expression." No, well, I've got to be honest. I mean, some of these expressions are a little bit out of favour. Is probably the best thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, they may be used or they may not be used anymore. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's when somebody tries to create an argument between people, sows the seeds of discord, the apple of discord, because she actually threw an apple. So it's a true story. We're not just doing German learning, we're doing history too.
I know. I mean, this is a buy one, get two free, because you get history and English lesson and all that thrown in as well.
Okay, phrase 4. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just a minute. We've got to go to the producer of the show and try again. Okay, so Zähne, sagen.
Yeah, you've corrected yourself. Well done. Zähne, zeigen. Remember, TS. Zähne, zeigen.
To John, then we'll come back to phrase 4. Crux of the argument. No, it was to start an argument. And over to Roland. Oh, John's now spelled crux correctly. And Roland saying today more like a something fairer than a bad apple. Yeah, that's close, Roland. That's darn close. That's something we couldn't actually. We can't fill in the asterisks. And
no. We don't want anybody to be blocked or anything. Oh, right. That's the answer to Zähne zeigen. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Show your teeth.
So Zähne zeigen is phrase 4, to show your teeth. Chris has answered totally correctly.
Yeah.
And the English equivalent, John? Roland, come on. To show your teeth.
We have the same in English.
And John is saying bare your teeth.
That's it, yeah.
And John is spot on. So it is Zähne zeigen is
not Zähne, Zähne.
Zähne, sorry.
Zähne is something very nice.
Okay. Right. Okay. We're going towards the well, I'm not going to mention them because they're not here yet. Anyway, the next one, eine Zeitungsente.
Almost. Eine Zeitungsente.
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 Okay. Zeitungsente. And over to Stephen. And Stephen is saying bare your teeth. We've got a slight delay, Stephen. You're spot on. Thank you for answering. And phrase 5, eine Zeitungsente.
Zeitungsente. That's it.
Zeitungs is one word and enter is another word.
Yeah, and the S, Zeitung is one word. Enter is one word. The S is in there so we can pronounce it as one word.
Zeitung is a newspaper.
Yeah. And enter?
Was ist? Anybody know what an enter is? Anybody? Come on.
It's an animal.
It's an animal. Okay. I do know. I can see the answer out to the corner of my eye now. I can actually read the comments as well, which is absolutely brilliant. My eyes are having a good day. So, okay. Zeitungsente is a newspaper duck. Why you should pick on a duck, I don't know. But what is the English equivalent of a newspaper duck? And John's correctly saying duck. That's good. Yeah, thank you, John. And it's a newspaper duck. So what is the English equivalent of a newspaper duck? There are never any of these in the newspapers these days. Newspapers, I'm just giving you subtle hints. Newspapers always tell the truth. And they're not a little bit biased. And over to Roland. And Roland is saying the stories are crackers. Okay. And John is saying a hoax. And John is pretty close, in fact.
Yes and no. Actually, he isn't.
It isn't strictly a hoax, John.
No.
We've got to be accurate. It is not that we see any of them ever anywhere.
No, we don't actually. We don't, because what we see nowadays is we see fake stories. Fake stories are done deliberately.
Okay.
This comes from, this basically is from the time before internet, and people, it wasn't quite so easy to research things. So this was actually a false newspaper story, purely because they haven't been able to test it or to verify it. And so that was really interesting. And then I thought, but why a duck?
Yes, why a duck?
And that's pure coincidence, because it comes from the Latin, the two letters N and T, which comes from, and I've written it down here, this is from Latin, non testatum, or the English, not testified. So they wrote a story, but they hadn't been able to testify that it was true. So they put the N and the T there. And if you read those two letters in German,
enter.
And that's how it just turned into a duck, because enter just happens to be a duck.
Right. Okay. So that's the 5 sentences, as Angelika said at the beginning of the broadcast, 5 sentences and then 2 tongue twisters. Please do say them with me if I can fit them on the screen. Just a minute.
I think the first one might be okay.
It is. Okay. So we sorry, over to Roland while I have a think. Roland's saying the word alleged is used a lot.
Yes.
Okay. You could allege that, Roland. I couldn't possibly. Okay. In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's have a go. Zenten, zenten und zehn. Oh, I've got to be quick, obviously. Zenten, zenten zehn zehn zogen, zehn zahme, ziegen, zehn cent. Oh, that's not working. Just a minute. That is, I didn't know whether it would actually work or not. So let's try this way. Zehnten, zehn zehn zogen, zehn zahme, ziegen, zehn Zentner. That's not working either. Zentner Zucker, some zoo. No, I'm going to try something here. We're going to. I mean, this is the last episode of this particular series, so we have to see if we can actually get it on screen. So let's go for it. No, just a minute. I'm going to have to change the next 4.
You've got
cracked it at last. Zent. I feel like I've been saying this forever. Zenten, zehn zehn zogen, zehn zahme, ziegen, zehn Zentner Zucker, zu. Okay, and from Roland, and Roland saying, "Go, Stephen, go," and finish on a high. Yeah, I agree. That's what we're trying to do. And John saying, "Do we need new teeth for this one?" Yeah, okay. And just Mr. and Roland, the word alleged is used a lot. Okay, so we've got to ask Angelika to say this too.
Apart from the Z sound. So am zehnten, 10:10 10:10 zogen 10 zahme Ziegen 10 Zentner Zucker zum Zoo.
Right. Now we do have the translation of that, which won't necessarily. I need to make a change here. Just a minute.
And I've noticed I've missed something in the translation.
That's okay. On the 10th at 10 o'clock, 10 tame goats pulled 10 hundredweight of sugar to the zoo.
Yeah, it should be the 10th of the 10th. I've missed out the of the 10th.
10. Oh, right.
Zehnten, that's the 10th of the 10th, as in 10th of October.
Okay. And Roland is, are we, John? which was in reply to, we're all going to the zoo tomorrow. No, we're all going to the park run in Melksham tomorrow. It's park run number 3. And it's going to be
for us. Everybody else
anybody,
has been going a bit longer.
Yeah, for anybody down in Wiltshire where it's raining cats and dogs at the moment, it's going to be a fine day tomorrow. 22% of rain when we last checked. Of course, the sun's always shining in the Midlands. Right. Okay. So phrase 2. Too energetic. No, it's not. We've got to be just to explain. We do a park walk. You don't have to run it. You can walk it. And believe you me, I do walk it. And John is saying it is sunny in Solihull. Okay. So hopefully it's on its way down to us, John. But yeah, park walks are park walks, not just. Anyway, I've been trying to get away from this, but I'm not going to. And I can't do this. Okay. It won't fit.
This is the last one ever. Come on, we can do this.
That's what we can do.
It's a mini story with lots of Z's.
I'm going to let it go through once, and then I'm going to try and keep pace the second time. Okay. And Chris is saying it's sunny in Belgium too.
Well, I'm not surprised it's raining here then.
No,
the sun is too busy everywhere else.
All the rain has been sent down to us. Okay, so let's try and read it with me. We can't hear you, so you're quite safe. And I'll take your comments in a minute, Roland. I'm just winding myself up to actually read this. Zwölf, zünftige. If I get it wrong, I'm going to do it again. Zipfelmützenzwerge, die auf Zwölf, Tannenzapfen, sagen, saßen, aßen, zweihundertzweiundzwanzig. Oh, I'm going to have to put it on the screen, aren't I? Just a minute. This is the tongue twister to end all tongue twisters. Let's go again.
And you're missing the last bit of the tongue twister, which is not even on there.
It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit. It's too big to actually go on there. All right, so I'm going to start in a minute. Okay, mix swix im Bauch. When we get there, we know we've got to the end. So
I've got another sentence.
Zipfelmützenzwerge, die auf Zwölf, Tannenzapfen, saßen, aßen, zweihundertzweiundzwanzig. Oh, I can't do it. It's going much too fast, Angelika. It's much too long.
Well, I wanted to finish on a high, you know. I'll read it. 12 zünftige Zipfelmützenzwerge, die auf 12 Tannenzapfen saßen, aßen 222 blaue Zwetschgen. Als sie die 222 Zwetschgen gegessen hatten, sagte Zwerg Zwuckel zu Zwerg Zwockel, mich zwickt's im Bauch. Darauf antwortete Zwerg Zwockel zu Zwerg Zwuckel, mich auch.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see what we can do with the English. And let's stop that and show the English on screen. Just take a comment from Roland saying Angelika's been cruel.
It's the last one. I'm allowed to.
Last one. It's the last one, season 5, coming up in 2 weeks' time. It's glorious in Liverpool, sunny. So it's sunny in Solihull. It's sunny in Liverpool. But it's raining cats and dogs in Devizes and possibly over in Melksham and everywhere else in Wiltshire. Let's go for this then. And Stephen's comments coming through. 1 second. Respect. Thank you. Okay. And so I can't even find the show button. This is so big. 12 proper dwarfs with pointed caps sitting on 12 pine cones, 822 damson plums. When they had eaten the 222 plums, Dwarf Zwuckel said to Dwarf Zwockel, my stomach is twitching, to which Dwarf Zwockel replied to Dwarf Zwuckel, mine too. Right, we got the English. Oh, good. Oh, that took some doing. I don't know what I can do. Just a minute, just give me a second. Because if I go like this, just a minute, I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to update that. I'm going to add a new item. I'm going to put it there. Okay. And I'm going to move it up there. Right. I think we're okay when we come back. We'll soon find out. Okay. Now this is the point at which we get perfect German and possibly the English translation as well. Okay. So let's start the beginning again, go through and see what we can do. Angelika.
Wir sollten das nicht zwischen Tür und Angel besprechen.
The literal translation is, we shouldn't discuss this between door and hinge, and Chris has learnt a new word. And we shouldn't discuss this in passing is our equivalent. Okay, phrase 2.
Zu allem Ja und Amen sagen. Oh, there it is.
To say yes and amen to everything. Okay, which is the English equivalent is to be a yes man. And over to Roland. We'll stop this and go to Roland. Roland's saying that's a must-use phrase when on holiday in Germany. Well, you have to practice a lot first, Roland. And the translation sounds like it's from the Brothers Grimm. It does sound like a fairy tale. Okay, phrase 3, Angelika.
Der Zankapfel.
Okay, and we decided that was the coral apple. We told the story of the Greeks and the Trojans and the Trojan siege because of the apple of discord, which was thrown into and started an argument which turned into a war. Phrase 4.
Zähne zeigen.
Zähne, not Zähne, Zähne.
Zähne.
And it's to show your teeth. And our English equivalent is to bare one's teeth. Okay, phrase 5.
Eine Zeitungsente.
And the English, I've lost my place. The English equivalent, literal translation is a newspaper duck, and we decided that the English equivalent was a false newspaper story. Right, okay, now Angelika is going to read the first of our tongue twisters.
Am 10.10. 10:10 Uhr zogen 10 zahme Ziegen 10 Zentner Zucker zum Zoo.
Right, I'm not going to. Well, go on. It's the last program. Am 10.10. 10 Uhr zogen, zahme Ziegen, or Ziegen,
Ziegen.
10 Zentner Zucker zum Zoo.
Zoo.
Okay, close. It's the last one. So, okay. Literal translation is on the 10th at 10 o'clock, 10 tame goats pulled 10 hundredweight of sugar to the zoo, and we'll take that off. And now in 2 parts, Angelika is going to read. Just a minute. Roland's saying something, so we'll wait for Roland and then a round of applause. Okay. Right, phrase number 2, which is now in 2 halves. Okay, I've split it, so we should be able to see it on screen. No, we can't, because it's still too big.
Okay. 12 zünftige Zipfelmützenzwerge, die auf 12 Tannenzapfen saßen, aßen 222 blaue Zwetschgen. Als sie die 222 Zwetschgen gegessen hatten, sagte Zwerg Zwuckel zu Zwerg Zwockel, mich zwickt's im Bauch. Daraufhin antwortete Zwerg Zwockel zu Zwerg Zwuckel, mich auch.
Okay. Right, and the English is 12 proper dwarfs with pointed caps sitting on 12 pine cones ate 222 damson plums. When they had eaten 222 plums, Dwarf Suckle said to Dwarf Zwockel, my stomach is twitching, to which Dwarf Suckle replied, mine too. Okay. Right, so we've had 25 episodes doing idioms. Is there going to be a course made out of this?
I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. No, I have turned them into blog posts.
Right.
Some of them are already on my website, and where I've actually added a few extra idioms as well. I've got as far as L on the blog.
Right. And over to Roland. That is a must-use phrase on holiday in Germany. Oh, to Stephen. The transcription sounds like it's from the Brothers Grimm. Roland again. Applause. And then Stephen gives a whole new meaning to the afternoon Zeds. Is that?
They're putting you to sleep, are they?
Chris, great last show. Thank you so much. Can't wait for your next live Angelika, Ask Angelika episode.
Ooh, not too sure about that one.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Anything happening on Monday, Angelika?
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about the next show, but we can talk about
we can talk about the next show. It's up to you.
The next season rather than the next show. Although there are still loads of not so much tongue twisters, but idioms. I think one season of idioms is enough. And I'm going to do something which I like. I'm not sure whether Stephen will, which is grammar. And we're going to cover in season 5, we're going to cover the one thing that most language learners are struggling with. And from what I gather, it seems to be, it doesn't matter which language it is, and that's prepositions. Because the one problem with prepositions, if you translate a preposition, just the one word for word, that's easy. The word in, for example, in English is in German. But when it comes to prepositions with verbs and as part of sentences, they are used completely different. And then in German, we've got the cases as well. So we're going to work our way through all the German prepositions. I haven't quite thought about the format yet, so I've got 2 weeks to think about it.
And
something to look forward to.
Roland is saying the grammar police are on the way. No, we take a quite relaxed attitude. Well, sort of. No,
actually, we're making sure that the grammar police won't have anything to do.
Exactly.
Because we're getting it right.
Okay. So. There we are. Angelika, we'd like to close today's show.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. It's been a pleasure for me to do these German idioms and tongue twisters. I'm not too sure whether it's been a pleasure for Stephen all the time, but I think he certainly deserves a round of applause because you've done really well and you've coped really well with all these idioms and especially with the tongue twisters. So a thank you to Stephen.
You're most welcome. Everybody, take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Anything that happened and probably will. And Stephen's saying thanks to you too. The comments coming through thick and fast, and I'm not doing a thing because Roland's going to say something now. Possibly. Now we've got to get Roland's comment. Well done, Stephen. Thank you, Roland. Thank you to Stephen and Chris and John. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Oh, wait a minute. Last comment goes to Chris. Grateful for everything we can learn here. There you are.
Brilliant.
Great compliment, Angelika. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye. Tschüss von mir. Tschüss von uns.
Oh, well done.
Cool.